we all think that, oh God, what I would give to sit down and have dinner with my great 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 grandmother. And we think that it's going to be this like deep connection thing, but then you get there and you realize that, oh, they may not say a bunch of things that I agree with, and we may not be as connected as we once thought we were. And so the show does a good job of finding the funny of that.
This is definitely such a different concept. So, Brandon, I'll start with you. We're in season 2, and in a time where there's like so much content to consume, why do you think that the show has been so successful?
Oh, I don't know if I can pinpoint why. I think that there's a little bit of like a fantasy element to it. There's a little bit of a farcical element to it, where each week you can sort of tune in to CBS and see, 10 really colorful, wild, disparate characters from all throughout history interacting with each other. I think there's just something really fun about that. And I think when you can have television that's an escape and very lighthearted, I can imagine that people gravitate towards that.
I would like to, if it's okay, just to add on to that. We all think that, oh God, what I would give to sit down and have dinner with my great 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 grandmother. And we think that it's going to be this like deep connection thing, but then you get there and you realize that, oh, they may not say a bunch of things that I agree with, and we may not be as connected as we once thought we were. And so the show does a good job of finding the funny of that, and how much we as people have changed over time.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite elements of the show as well. And because it was such a good first season, Asher, for you going into the second season, were you nervous about topping the first?
Oh, wow. Great question. Yeah, I was. I feel like we are so lucky with this incredible concept for this show that there is a responsibility to say we won the lottery. This cast is amazing. The concept is brilliant. The network supports us. And so there's a responsibility to make this thing as good as we possibly can, because the opportunity is very rare. So hopefully we did a good job. We'll see. Be nice to us.
Now, speaking of like such an amazing cast, Brandon, for you, working on a comedy with so many other talented actors, how are you going about keeping your comedy and timing fresh, especially with like the different subject matter that you guys are dealing with?
Yeah, it's kind of even like piggybacking off of the concept of like going into season 2. I think it's all about finding rhythms with each other, and that we get a chance to spend a lot of time together outside of work as well. And so what happens there is that sort of there's these natural sort of dynamics that happen off screen that hopefully can translate on screen. And so when somebody else's point of view, that if I'm doing a scene with Richie and I make each other laugh in a very specific way, I think the way we can try to keep it fresh is to just sort of apply those rhythms that we find outside of the work into the work. And I think that's been really, really fun. And also, you just never know where your character's going each week. You don't know what's coming up next. You have no idea. And so you get this script, and so you're excited to just go for it. And so I think there's always a little bit of an element of surprise that helps with that as well.
Nice answer, Brandon.
Thanks.
Now, extra for you, congratulations, you guys, because the show has already been renewed for season 3. So what are you looking to delve into this time around?
For season 3, I love the fact, I sound like a broken record, but the concept is so good because it limits, you can't go anywhere, but you can go back 1,000 years into history. So I'm very excited, and hopefully we get to play with what has been happening at this house on this piece of land for the last 1,000 years. How do these ghosts relate to each other? You'll discover tonight that we introduced the character of Trevor's brother. So I'd love to explore that a little bit. Yeah, there's just a lot of possibilities that I'd love to do, the kinds of things that our show can do that no other show really could do.
Now, for the both of you, outside of acting on various projects, Brandon, you're a writer. Asher, you're a filmmaker and a teacher. It's so funny because I was just watching, what is the name of that movie that's on Netflix, with
Oh, that one movie.
With
What is that?
with what is the movie that I was just watching on Netflix on my vacation
Who's in it?
about the girl that wakes up in a coma 20 years later?
Oh, senior year.
Yes, senior year, yes, because
Yeah.
I had no idea that you were behind that. So that is actually one of my favorite movies. But like I mentioned, Brandon, you're a writer, Esther, you're a filmmaker and a teacher. How are you guys balancing the two with being in front of the camera and then also creating content at the same time?
It's definitely like a tightrope act. You know what I'm saying? I find that from my perspective, writing takes a lot of my brain space. And so it's about kind of like compartmentalizing and saying, you know, when I'm done with my day of shooting, if I don't have to prep for the next day, that's always going to be paramount. But then I'll try to find nights and weekends a chance to write. And then obviously right now, when we're in our off season, I try to just kind of keep a schedule that makes it feel like an actual working day. So like 9 to 5, I try to like sit behind a computer and write, which is sad to say out loud because I live in sunny LA.
I'm a little. There's been a lot of teaching for me recently, and I'm very lucky that the schedule kind of takes care of itself in the sense that I'm in Montreal shooting Ghosts from June to January, and then there's a semester of the college that I teach at. So the year is kind of bifurcated in the perfect way. So that's helpful.
And for you, Asher, you spoke a little bit about your schedule, but what are you getting from teaching versus acting? Like, what is fueling you? How are you using obviously your experience in acting and, you know, in Hollywood? One of the things that I feel like I benefited from attending college was actually having professors that were actively in the field, which I feel like a lot of times lacks depending on, like, you know, what program or what school you attend. So how do you feel like that's a benefit to yourself and also your students?
Well, that's a great question. There is it's very easy as a teacher to kind of, I think, lose a sense of vulnerability because you always kind of know more. And the good thing about the business is that it'll never let you feel too good about yourself. So it keeps you humble, and you can apply that. I always think with my students that any exercise that we're going to do, I should do it first so that they see me kind of getting in the sandbox with them and trying and failing and then there's something great about we're shooting a show and there's a constant Brandon and I talk about this a lot. There's a constant focus on process, but we're surrounded by every other element of the filmmaking process that is very result oriented. And their result is created by capturing our process, if that makes any sense. So teaching is very grounding in a way because it's all about process. It's all about trying and failing and changing a point of view and about that kind of sense of mutability and electricity. So they kind of go hand in hand. Teaching can be a good reset because you take yourself out of the equation, try to help someone else, and through osmosis, you're kind of picking things up yourself.
And for you, Brendan, what projects are you currently working on, or like what is your dream project to write and bring to fruition?
Oh gosh,
They're great questions. These are just awesome questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. So like in terms of like a dream project, I think that's always sort of shifting and changing in terms of like what I'm interested. I think, to like write and act in something that and really kind of create it from the ground up and have it be like, see it through that full package, I think is really, really exciting. I had a really great time working on senior year. I have a movie coming out this spring called Renfield, which I'm really excited about. And so, I mean, there's those things I'm excited about in right now, just to have those get out into the world. And then, I'm my writing partner and I writing a movie right now. So we're really excited. We're hoping everybody gets to see that sometime soon as well.
Well, good luck on everything. Congratulations on everything. And it was a pleasure speaking with you both this morning.